Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Ji. Welcome to the Sikh Research Institute's fourth day of our Vaisakhi e-countdown celebration. When I reflect on Vaisakhi around this time of year, I always think about my Biji. Growing up, if I wasn't listening to English bedtime stories, my Biji would share Sakya with me. I think she had always wanted me to have the type of relationship that she had with Sikhi, and that was a time and a moment where we could really bond and connect over. And I would listen to her so intently, no matter how many times she repeated the same Saki to me. I was always so interested and so fascinated by the stories that she was telling me. I remember going to our Vaisakhi Nagar Kirtan here before my siblings would come, before my parents would come. It would just be me, my Biji, and my Papaji. And for someone who didn't grow up with a lot of Sikh community around and a lot of Sikh influence in my childhood, other than my Biji, those opportunities were really important and really crucial for my development and my, kind of motivation to be here now. When I reflect on those memories, especially next to Biji, I kind of come to this realization that she was, in a lot of ways, my first Sangat. And, she was so patient with me, whether I had interest or not in that particular day, or whether I was asking millions of questions. I think she kind of had the foresight that I would find the same journey that she was on. So that's always been a really important concept for me. It's always been a very meaningful concept for me, the idea of Sangat, but also the idea of the space that we come together in, the idea of the space that Sangat occupies. Um, you know, whether it's the bigger and bigger venues that we celebrate Nagar Kirtan for Vaisakhi in the diaspora, or whether it's the complex of the Gurdwara, or whether for some people it's the just the four corners of their home, for people who a Gurdwara isn't nearby. But I find that space to be so significant and so important, that space of the Sangat. And I've always had the sense from the Sakya that my Biji told me when I was younger, that this space is really truly something special. It's not something to be taken lightly. It's something that was earned, and it took determination, it took sacrifices, and patience above all. The first Nagar Kirtan in North America is just over 20 years ago at this point. And as we grow and grow as a community in the diaspora, I've always thought about how important that space is for, kids like me and for folks like me who are maybe on that journey now, or are still finding their way to that journey. Those opportunities to be with Sangat in that highly public, highly visual, and highly visceral way is so critical. And I like to reflect around this time about how I'm occupying that space, about how I'm choosing to engage with that space, about how I'm choosing to engage with my Sangat. I question myself, and I think to myself often, how am I occupying this space? Am I occupying this space with compassion? Am I honoring all of the efforts and all of the sacrifices that so many before us have made so that we might have the opportunity to celebrate Vaisakhi with one another? Am I making a concerted effort to learn from those around me, who might know more than me or might know different things than me? And am I making an effort to share what I know with others in my Sangat? I think for people in my generation specifically, this also applies to the online space and the virtual spaces in which we interact with one another. It's only to one's benefit to reflect on that as well. With what kind of intentions are we engaging with one another, whether it's in person or whether it's online? Are we being compassionate? Are we being understanding? Are we being kind? Are we being good Sangat to one another? But if there's anything that my Biji, out of the many things that she gifted me, if there's one thing that I would like to share with you and leave with you, is that you're never too old to learn from your Sangat, and that you're never too young to try something new amongst your Sangat. So that's what I'm reflecting on this Vaisakhi, the idea of space, the idea of meaningful space, and just being more aware and more kind to the folks that are in my Sangat. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.